For those who don't know, I have a genetic form of diabetes, and those who have any form of diabetes out there will find managing their health, well-being, fitness, all quite complicated because you've got to balance so many different things, and it's not just as easy as go to the gym, have a protein shake and recover the next day. And that is something that I never really give it much attention, especially in my 20s, in the sense that when it comes to filling out any forms or when it comes to anyone asking, do you have any medical history, and would always say no, because the diabetes, I've never really had any complications from it. I had a few vision disturbances when I was younger, and that's how I got diagnosed when I was 9. But when it comes to other things, I've never really put much effort into it. I've always tried to be healthy in the sense of have non-processed foods. Recently stopped drinking alcohol when I was, 3.5 years ago now, so when I was 28. But I just want to do more videos for anyone who has diabetes or any metabolic dysfunction and are trying to navigate it the same way that I am. So yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. I'm just going to document how I go about these things, and for anyone who doesn't know as well, I work in healthcare. I'm a pharmacist, I'm a prescriber. I specialise within, I would say, cardiology, and then touching upon diabetes just because of my past medical history. So I will give you all the views basically from the patient perspective and also from a healthcare perspective. I will always say that exercise is number one for any condition, and there are things that are non-negotiables in my life. So exercising daily, movement. How you exercise daily changes. So today I'm doing more of a muscle building one, so I'm going to do my back. It's a Saturday. I've exercised every day this week. Years ago I would have had a rest day, but now because I've got a sedentary job, the human body is capable of doing a lot of things. So the fact that I'm sedentary for 8 to 10 hours just in my job means that I can move and should be moving every single day. But that doesn't mean doing a really intense activity in the gym. So today was just a bit of back building. I'll show you that now, and then like I said, it's all about me going forward. And for anyone who wants to know, I have been spending the last week after work doing this room with my wife. As you can probably see, that needs painting there. But yeah, I'll go to the gym. So I've just been in the gym, coming back. Over the years, it would have been a protein shake, but the title of this video is about my diabetes. And since I'm looking more into trying to improve that side of things, I haven't come up with a proper way to fuel myself properly after a workout. But more recently, I've been doing some shakes, but they don't really have that much protein in them. I'm going to show you how they come about now, but it's just about trying to get some sugar back into the muscles. Ironically, that is sugar-free. But it's about trying to get some nutrition back in. So I'm not making it because I'm not the best today. So what have we got in here? A few dates. We have then got some almond butter. Yeah. I'm going to have a banana. I'm going to have some almond milk. I mean, ideally, it is not the best with some like crap in it really, but it's probably the best one I had access to. I think the best one is Plenish, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much are we putting in here?
I don't know, I just sort of like...
Probably got to put in more. Are we both having this, or is this...
No.
Oh, is this just me?
I'm going to have a tiny bit, but not much.
Okay, so this is just going to be me.
Put in, what would you say that is, about 150 mil, 200 mil, 200 mil?
It is. It didn't turn out too bad, to be honest, but that's one thing that I need to probably look into a bit more is, on some days, do I need to have extra protein supplemented into my diet to improve metabolic health and muscle mass? That is something that I am still on the fence with, and something I'm going to look into a bit more. But I'm actually going to look more into the diabetes side of things because, like I said, I've had this diagnosis now since I was 9. Obviously had it since I was born, but there's just a few things after seeing more patients on a regular basis, and I've been looking at a few other people who've got metabolic dysfunction. It is on the horizon that I could potentially have something that catastrophic happens, and it's not good having an elevated blood sugar level even though it is a bit lower than other diabetics, it's still not beneficial for me to have that. And I'm going to look into it a bit more because more and more people are having this type of diabetes, MODY. There are multiple types of MODY, which is modified maturity onset diabetes in the young, and there's so many different types. And I feel like a lot of people are getting misdiagnosed because it is quite a complex thing to know or look at, really. And GLP-1 pens, I am thinking about whether I should do that privately. Now, I can prescribe, but prescribing for yourself is frowned upon, especially in the UK. And whether I could go to a couple of people who I know run specialist clinics and do that. But again, the other side of things is that if I go down the GLP-1 route, it may improve metabolic function, but could it then reduce lean mass if I'm not too careful with the diet? There's so many things that I need to weigh up. And one thing I was thinking about last night, funny enough, was throughout my whole life so far, I've obviously had an elevated HbA1c, which is a measure of your blood sugar over 3 to 6 months anyway. So my most recent one that I had done in November was 46, which is the lowest it's been for some time. But before that, it was well within the diabetic range, 51 when I was discharged. I think it's been 54, and it was 54, bear in mind, when I was 22, 23. At that point, I weighed, I think the heaviest I've ever weighed, it was 84 kilos. I had a very low body fat percentage. I was very strong. Sadly, I'm not on them same metrics anymore in terms of strength or physique, but at that point I was having a lot of protein, a lot of supplements, and yeah, like I said, the diabetic markers were so far off. And that's why I always come back to this idea that you can look a certain way, but it really doesn't tell the bigger picture in terms of your true health. But I don't know, I'm just going back to that, I was thinking, have I been at a disadvantage from an energy point of view? So have I not been able to use energy properly because I've not been able to get the sugar within the cells until it gets to a certain number or a certain insulin requirement? And that's the case. If I did improve it through GLP-1 pens, could I then improve my performance in terms of aerobic activity or muscle endurance? And these are things that I've just started to think about more and more, just because I'm seeing more studies of people using GLP-1 medication who are diabetics in a normal body weight, and they're still holding a lean mass because there's obviously a higher protein requirement. It would be, I think, on the top end of 2.2 grams per kilo. So they're the things that I'm looking into. But I want to do more cinematic videos. I was looking at Nick Bear, don't know how to say his name, BPN, the nutrition brand, and looking at how he trains to improve his metabolic function and his physique just made me feel completely lazy today. So as you've seen, I've done a back workout, but do I need to be doing more that way and finding a balance between putting enough muscle on, improving aerobic activity, but then improving metabolic function? That is the hardest thing with that, and I just try and kick the can of a diabetic diagnosis down the road. So it is something I am going to look into a bit more, and I'm sure will be the forefront of a lot of videos that come up on here. As always, if you've got this far, thanks for watching. If you do feel like you've got a genetic form of diabetes, which is very rare, then there are ways you can go and get it tested now. It is more and more known within the medical industry. So definitely go and have a look, and don't take type 1 or type 2 as the answer, because it may not be. I will see you in the next video anyway. Thanks for watching.